good day. It has been a long time since I've had a moment to get at this Commodore 64 rescue project. But I'm hoping today is the last day. So, I'm going to flip it on. This, by the way, this is the one that had socketed chips, sorry, not socketed chips, and the PLA chip and one of the 6526 chips was bad. And I unsoldered them and put in sockets and replaced them. And when I turn it on, it's all good. The last thing that must be done to make this machine happy is to correct a missing key on the keyboard from what I remember. And there is the missing key. It is the H key. And of course the stem is broken. So that means out come a whole bunch of screws. Maybe I have to unsolder, maybe I don't. We shall see. Let the games begin. Also, I have checked out all the keys, and they all work, so the keyboard does not need to be cleaned. We just got to get the new stem and key and spring in there. Hello, I'm going to take this keyboard apart so that I can get the broken stem out, put a good stem in, and replace the H key. But I know that watching somebody undo all these screws is really no fun. So I'm going to switch over to time-lapse. Meanwhile, I've got Beachhead loading, and as I remember rightly, it will go into a self-demo, and that may be interesting to watch in high-speed mode. So we're going down, we're going into time-lapse. Alright, so I have all the screws out, and I really don't want to have to unsolder this. So, basically, the broken stem is a free agent, and if I turn this over, and I pull this back, hopefully, it will just fall out. Ooh. And it did. There is the broken stem. So now, I have to find another stem, a spring, and an H key. And this machine should be ready to go. Well, then the screws have to go back in. Don't forget the screws. So, it's coming right along. Stay tuned, I've just got to go and find. I gotta find the parts I need. Hello again. So, I have a fresh spring and a fresh stem. And now, it's funny, I never thought I would need more light here. Let's see. These are not helpful. Oh, these will be helpful. Things are happening. I'm under fire! So, I have not really done this before. It's dark. Oh, lucky have fun. What I gotta do is locate the empty hole it is very hard to see. And it's not a difficult thing I have to do, but I gotta see what it is that I'm doing. And well, I know about where it is. This light, I thought it would be helpful, but it's not really. This is one of those times when you hear people say, oh, let's save some time, but it's not working. So I think I must unsolder. I think. Alright, stand by. Oh, no, I do not want to drop it. This has the screws. Alright, time to unsolder. Alright, so I went off into an area of better light thinking that if I got into better light that I could somehow get under and get in. But you know, if it was farther over here, I could. And it's not that I don't, sorry, it's not that I can't unsolder this, I would so rather not have to, because then it has to be resoldered. And not that that's a big trouble, but you know. Anytime you apply heat to something, something could happen, and it could be bad. So, anyway, while I'm waiting for the iron to heat up, the basics of swapping out a key on a Commodore 64 or a VIC-20 or many of the other machines are, you have to first get the top of the machine off, there it is, turn it over, and then I believe there are 27 screws. I'm not going to count the holes, but I think there are 27 screws. And that, oh, and also there's this tape here, which makes things more interesting, because somehow you've got to get some of the screws that are inside the tape. But really, does the tape matter? No, not really. If you have to rip it off, rip it off. I usually poke holes or sort of dig around it. And then if you can get at where the bad key is, which would be over towards, oh my. What could that be? All right, anyway, the iron is heating. So, the idea is I want to grab this, okay, so yes, what am I unsoldering? I'm unsoldering the shift lock key. The shift lock key is pretty much the only key, well, maybe on some of the other machines there's another key. But on the 64 and along, it's the only thing that's soldered because it's an actual switch. So, once those wires, those two little wires, are out of the way, everything, this whole board, circuit board kind of thing, lifts off, and then it's easy. Ooh. You were laughing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wrong way. Okay. So, do we have heat? I don't think we're quite there yet. All right, let me just go check on something. We will unsolder in a moment. All right, I do believe we will have enough heat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little pliers going to put the pliers, ooh, that feels hot, onto the little wire, put the soldering iron, okay, we have enough heat, the wire popped out, okay, we have heat. So now, it's quite simple, I pull, this comes off, ooh, don't hurt the wires. And then I can take the good stem and pop it in. Alright, so once you have found the empty hole where the stem goes, all you really have to do, you can find the stem, is put it in, let it drop down. Look, they're all the same now. And then you just have to be careful when you put the little circuit board back on that you don't let it slip out. Nothing to do with the spring or the keycap happens right now. Alright, so now I'm not going to immediately resolder, but soon I want to get these screws are tiny. So tiny. And why do I just have, you know, sometimes you get a feeling like I'm going to drop one. I want to get a screw in here, just so I know everything is lined up. Okay, now, if I were a magician, I would show you this close up, but I'm not. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the wire and line it up with the hole. While holding a flaming hot soldering iron. And then I'm going to dab this onto there. And I'm going to push this through, and it's not going through. Why is it not going through? Okay. Push it through. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same for the other wire. Fine. Whoa, I almost got myself with the iron. Alright. We're lined up with the holes. Now I will take the flaming hot iron. I will push it through. Now, I might do this one more time. Okay. Alright. So, the flaming hot iron can be unplugged. Alright, so now just have to replace the screws. Once the screws are all in, I don't want to touch this now, I don't want that thing falling out again. Then you put the spring on the top, you put the cap on the thing, you push it down, you're done. So we're going back to time lapse. Hello. Alright. So the soldering iron is cooling off nicely. All the little screws have been replaced. And now we are left with a missing spring, which we have. And I will have to find the keycap, which I will find. So, once that is done, I should be able to put all the screws in and declare this Commodore 64 that was not violently ill, but somewhat ill, I should be able to declare it healthy. And it's not Christmas yet, but soon it will be, and this machine will be perhaps underneath a tree some 30 years after Commodore wanted to get them under the trees, so that this father can show his son some of the cool things he used to play with when he was growing up. Alright, I must find a keycap. Stay tuned. Alright, so here we are looking down upon the rescued 64. I just have to fasten it back into its case. I have replaced the shielding that goes over the video chip. Also has some heat. Has the little finger that comes down to dissipate heat, which later 64s had shields that basically had fingers that come down and dissipate heat from everything. Anyway, hello. Alright, so this is a machine I have not looked at yet. As you can see, perhaps, it is a somewhat silver label 64. There's a bag in here. This part looks rather silver labelish. This part is not the 64 thing, so it's kind of a hybrid. But anyway, I used this a little bit to rescue and make perfect Jim Butterfield's Commodore 64. And I will restore this at some point. But right now, I've already taken some keys off this. And the keys are not perfect, like there's paint on some, so I don't feel bad. So basically what you do is, and it's easier when there's more space. It's hard, you know what, I might just pop off the Y key. So you get a screwdriver underneath and then apply gentle upward pressure. And it should happily let go from the stem. And it did. Now, this will be a neat trick if I can do it. And I'm not sure I can, but I will try. So, you take a little screwdriver and you gently give it a little pressure in an upwards direction. And you see it's only holding on to this little X. And this is more difficult when you're holding, trying to record, but I think it is loosening. I'm just hoping it doesn't fly across the room. Sorry. Once I get it off here. But that's the basic. When I do these, oh, okay. We got it off. I don't think anything broke. The stem looks good. The spring looks good. I gotta get that off the floor. Hello. So here we are, looking at this machine. So all we have to do is put the spring over the stem, and then put the key, hello, put the key over and push it on. Now, you see it's up a bit, it's not down there yet. Gotta give it a little oomph. And there it is. The key, the stem, and the spring have been replaced, and life is good. And this machine has been saved from the scrapyard. Quite literally, from the scrapyard. We're not quite done yet, but we're almost done. What do I have to do now? put the screws in the case, to mount the machine again, put the keyboard back on top, hook it all up, and that's it. That's all. So this machine, which quite literally, as you may have heard me just say, depending on how I edit this, has quite literally been saved from a scrapyard, and it has. So we're not quite done, but you gotta just put it all back together. So stay tuned. Hello. So we're down to putting the screws in. Then, and there are not nearly as many screws as in the keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe there are 7. So you want to put them in and screw them in snug, but don't reef on it. So we have, oh, now, right, the keyboard. Keyboard is in. Just a moment. Have to connect the LED. There it is. And then get it to fit together nicely. Nicely. This is not nicely. That should be nicely. Alright, now, I have no doubt that this is just dandy. That is why I'm going to, before I plug it in again, put in the screws to secure it. Because heavens, we don't want to violate the warranty. It's funny, you know, when I was in Florida, I did have extra warranty stickers to put back onto machines if we had to open them. Alright, once again, don't reef on them. Alright, so there it is. A formerly very dead Commodore 64, and now quite living. So the last thing we're going to do is pull this 64 out of the way. Grab all the cables. Apply power. We will watch. It will come to life. Look at that. The keys work. And then, just for fun, we'll have it load up each head. Because, you know, some of these elaborate programs are a very good way to test things. Now, here's all the other little pieces and screws. I do not want to lose them, so I will put them in this cup. And then, once this iron is stone cold, by the way, never do this. Don't do this. Don't. It's okay. I knew it should be stone cold. I unplugged it maybe half an hour ago. But once it is stone cold, the soldering iron lives behind this monitor. And the screws and the soldering iron will go there. Alright, so now I must find my regular phone and text the fellow who summoned me onto this fine machine and tell him it's all good. So, it's a happy day. The Commodore 64 has been saved, and at some point soon, a man and his son will sit together and enjoy, well, for the father, memories, for the son, new experiences. And I would like to think that the son is very appreciative of all this. The graphics, are they as good as today's near perfect, near representations of people? No. But this represents, at the time, back when, this was cutting edge. So, the nice thing about it will be to see, and I won't be there to see it, but I'll sure hear about it, is the two generations, one tripping down memory lane, one learning about the past, but they'll be walking the same path together. Gets you right here. And look, Beachhead is working. Alright, I must find my phone and send a text. Thank you for being here.